Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fandom Fridays, where we proceed to check out all the fanfics that are not pony related. Why? Because Godzilla vs. Kong just came out. That's why. And I really am looking forward to it. It sounds awesome. It sounds like a really cool fight, and it's got Mecha Godzilla in it. Oh, don't whine about spoilers. The toy line spoiled it. The the trailers have spoiled it. You can spoil it for yourselves if you use the context clues. And last but not least, there's a freaking toy of Mecha Godzilla. So yeah. But I think we need to do something special for the occasion. Let's see, I could read a Kong fix in the Monsterverse. Nah, that's too obvious. I can read a Godzilla fic. No. Gotta do something unique. Oh, I got it. Join us, will you, as we here at the Terryberry Memorial Library are proud to present Resonance. Enjoy. Resonance by Mandela. Chapter 1. First Contact. It was a well-established fact that any time the phrase, like a moth to a flame, could be applied to Donatello. Yes, that's right. It's a TMNT and 98 Godzilla crossover. Trouble was not far behind. Certainly all four of the Ninja brothers had their interests, things that drew them and piqued their curiosity. Was Leo's fascination with Bushido, Mikey's video games, and even Raphael's unending search for freedom just never matched up to the chaos of Donnie's own pursuits. The Brainiac Turtle never saw anything that was obviously harmful to the family, of course. But he did investigate the unusual, the challenging, and the complicated. These things, combined with technology and the Turtles' famous luck, always spelled disaster. This instance, however, was always surprised that Donatello held off so long. For the last time, Dawn, it's too dangerous. Leo crossed his arms and glared. First of all, I know the risks. Second of all, I don't intend to get anywhere near him. And third of all, the possible benefits far outweigh the danger. Donnie stated calmly, not buzzing an inch before his older brother. Beneath the logic and reason of his argument, however, the purple-clad turtle was tingling with scientific interest. How could Leo deny him the right to study the progress the most important mutant in the world, and the closest thing the turtles had to an ancestor besides Leatherhead? Not to mention a shot at deepening their knowledge of their own DNA. You've only been well for a little while, though. Sure you're up to something like this? Of course I am, Leo. Even Leatherhead and Master Splinter cleared me for training again. Then you won't mind if I come with you, the leader of the brothers replied. Yes, I do mind. Remember the last time I trusted you guys with any of my equipment, or even trusted you to stay out of my way while I handle it? Dude, that was totally not my fault, came a offensive voice from across the room. Well, you gonna let that go? Well, you prove you're not a doofus, Raphael put in, helpfully bopping Mikey on his domed head. My point exactly, Donatello said, meeting Leo's eyes again. You don't want me doing this more than once, and the only way to cut down on the number of excursions is to make sure I get everything I need on the first try, without anyone helpfully breaking any of my instruments. What about April, then? At least you have some backup in case anything went wrong, and so you wouldn't mess up your gadgets. She's taking Casey to visit her family, and you know it. Do you know what will happen if you're seen or shelled on, caught in a crossfire? What part of ninja are you not taking into account here? Donatello Karen sharply. Drop it, Leo, Raph advised, coming to stand beside the other middle turtle. You're not going to win this one. Donatello smiled at him thankfully. He shouldn't have been surprised. After all, if any of the brothers could understand the thrill of the risk that made this trip more than a scientific outing, it would be Raphael. Besides, he had a sneaking suspicion that his own fascination with the subject was somewhat shared by his red-clad rebellious brother. There's nothing I can say that will convince you, the eldest turtle sighed in resignation. Nope, sorry, Leo. Shouldering his bag, Donatello finally walked past the obstacle that kept him in the lair for the last 15 minutes, feeling excitement starting to bounce in his step. I'll be back soon! Mikey looked up from his movie marathon for a moment before yelling at his retreating brother, Say hi to Godzilla for me! Though each of the turtles knew New York City forwards and backwards, not only the streets, but the sewers and rooftops, there are areas that they just didn't frequent. Some, like Times Squares, were due to the sheer numbers of people around, and not a good thing for mutants trying to lie low. Some, like the quiet brownstone districts that were purely residential, had no interest in them. Some, like Staten Island, they avoided for other reasons. An ear-splitting roar thundered through the air as Donatello threw himself nimbly behind some crates to take shelter in the long shadows of dusk. No amount of ninja training could prevent a gasp of wonder that escaped him as something enormous rose over the wire only a half-mile away. Godzilla was beautiful. Perhaps not to the unscientifically minded. Mikey had declared it the world's ugliest creature except for Raph. But to one purple-banded mutant turtle, he was the pinnacle of what science, evolution, and the magic of chance could create. Shaped more like the T-Rex of prehistoric times than any other modern lizard, Godzilla was an improvement upon the dinosaurs in every way. His forelegs were strong and flexible, almost like human arms. He could move easily at varying speeds, including a blinding fast sprint. He breathed a type of radioactive fire, like a dragon or a wyvern. Yet he was intelligent and self-aware, too. Of course, very few humans believed his sense. Very few who spoke of him even vaguely complimentary, mostly considered him a nuisance until the monstrous thing appeared that needed an exterminator. But Donatello had been studying him long enough from afar to see that the public would never know of their hometown miracle. Wow, the turtle breathed, craning his neck to take Godzilla in from head to toe. Though they lived in the same city, none of the turtles had ever been this close to Godzilla before. Partially, it was through Leo's caution as leader. It was his job to make sure none of his brothers had gotten eaten or fried by giant lizards. Partly it was because, as mutations themselves, the brothers never wanted to risk exposure by getting close to something so obvious. Something so regularly dogged by military copters, official personnel, and the press. But today was different. I am so glad I found that network. Don smiled to himself, his mind glorifying in discovery while he took dozens of photos, distance readings, and the dozens of other measurements with his equipment. A week ago, while researching Godzilla, Jesus stumbled onto the merest whiff in cyberspace of a secure network with his search parameters. And after a day or so of intense hacking against something extremely impressive security, he had broken into a veritable treasure trove of information. Definitely a first-rate computer whiz, even if they did have the hot sense of humor, given some warnings he had carried and ignored. Whoever was keeping these notes had intimate knowledge of the beast, his chemistry, his habits, more importantly his lair. Unlike this, the turtle could approach the scheduled area away from the usual entourage of attention and observe Godzilla safely. Thus, his study began. If I can get enough data on Godzilla, maybe I can use it next time something happens to us. Donatello muttered as he switched gadgets while keeping an eye on his quarry. Maybe I'm sure there's something I can learn from his biology that I could apply to our genetic makeup. But to do that, I need a sample. The turtle took about 45 seconds to think over the lecture he would get from Leonardo, if his brother ever found out what he intended to do. Even worse if Master Splinter found out. But Donatello was determined. At the very recent outbreak fires that had caused him to mutate into something primal, carnal, and mindless, it showed both Donnie and Leatherhead that they simply did not know enough about their own DNA. One thing Donatello would give anything to prevent was a repeat of that scenario. They may not be so lucky in finding a cure next time, and they certainly were not about to go back to Agent Bishop for it. He swallowed a familiar lump of guilt for what he had put his family through his sake. So if the risk meant that chance would win him the knowledge to save his brothers, such a thing could ever happen again, he was willing to do just about anything to take it. Carefully and precisely, Donatello stowed all of his equipment in his bag, each in its very particular place for maximum efficiency and protection against damage, should the bag be shaken around during the course of movement, leaving only one in his hands. It was a little metal thing about the size of a cardboard tube inside a roll of paper towels. It was one of the niftiest gadgets yet. By flicking a button, it extended to a narrow, tapering 20-foot pole with a sharp metal piece on the end. Hopefully he could use it to swipe some skin samples from where Godzilla had been, instead of actually getting a range of the creature. If worse came to worse, just at least give him a fraction of Mars for error. Alright, here we go. Dai breathed as he moved silently from his hiding place towards where the massive creature stood. It appeared that Godzilla had exited the water near an old dock of some kind. It was roaming around the area. As the turtle approached, he could hear the telltale mumble of conversation. So he quickly switched tactics and took to the rooftops, drawing as near as he dared. Now he flattened himself on a building overlooking the dock area and peeked over the edge, listening intently. It looks like he's healing up fine after that last encounter. He heard the voice of a woman with long, fiery red hair. She was standing disturbingly close to Godzilla, shining a bright flashlight on a portion of scales on one leg that had recently been burned. Do you think you could get him to let you examine his eye? I'll try, answered a young man. The one Donatello recognized from the news as Dr. Nick Tatopoulos, something as an expert on certain types of mutations. To Donatello's astonishment, the doctor stepped even closer to Godzilla, speaking more than shouting. Come on, big guy. His voice was even, confident, almost coaxing, despite us barely loudly enough to be heard several stories up. Stuffing a puff of air to get sent a helicopter off course, the mutant slowly lowered his head, whole body curling to a crouch just yards from Dr. Tatopoulos. When the man laid an expert hand on his enormous mouth, Godzilla let out a soft ruffling noise that was almost a purr. Now his eyes went wide as he grappled the degree of comfort that this man had with one of the most aggressive, dangerous, territorial creatures on Earth. Alright, just let me take a look, Godzilla. His voice was still steady tone, even as he used some of Godzilla's jaw ridges to climb halfway up to his head. Looks like it's healing okay, Elsie. Get me that disinfectant. The redhead took a gallon and a jug with spraying fossil, fastened on the front, constantly approached. However, she stopped as Godzilla's bright eye opened and turned fully on her. Why don't you come get it? Elsie, he won't hurt you. The topless said tinily as he jumped easily from his perch to take the jug from her. Let's discolor from being respectable his personal face. Hey, guys, came a new voice. Donatello looked for the source, but his position could not see where it was from. We got something coming across the insurance company. Come check it out. Surprising as those words were, the turtle was even more confused, and both individuals below moved rapidly towards a ferry building, and to water's edge without hesitation. Godzilla raised his head, seemingly questioningly, then lumbered almost gracelessly to his feet. A few minutes after the humans were out of sight, Donatello saw the giant creature swing its head around, still searching the area. Then his breath froze and caught his stomach. Godzilla was staring at him. Donnie, run! Every impulse of Donatello's body was suddenly torn in half between bolting at top speed and shrinking into a shell. Everything in the turtle's mind was saying something else. After a few torturous moments of waiting to be incinerated, he trusted those instincts instead. Very, very slow, he got to his feet, making no sudden moves and keeping his body as relaxed as possible. He didn't hurt those people. He won't hurt me, he told himself firmly, hoping it to be true. When he was standing at his full height, he waited. Godzilla, eyes locked on him, took a few steps forward until he was close enough that Donatello could almost feel the moisture still dripping steadily from his recent immersion in the ocean. Hot breath washed over his face, but the turtle stood still. All his knowledge told him that Godzilla was a predator, and if he ran, he would look like prey. Besides, he thought ruefully, I could never run fast enough anyway. Donatello lifted his head a little more and met Godzilla's gaze. There was something in the bright eyes of the creature that stirred the ninja's heart. It was like when the turtles had first encountered Leatherhead. A kind of sense of belonging. Removed as he was, Godzilla was near a relation as he could ever find on Earth. And he was, perhaps, the best of them all. Donnie was so lost in his amazement he never heard the step ascending the rooftop behind him. I never heard the tiny sound of a gun cartridge clicking into place. Only felt a sudden, sharp prick of a dart on his arm. Starting in an alarm, adrenaline fighting the force of a powerful sedative, he saw a figure moving towards him. Donatello drew his bow, but the drug working through his system made him slow and awkward. Another dart struck near the first, and he crumpled. Last thing he saw before the forced darkness crept over him was a glowing, intense eye. Dude, chill out, Michelangelo advised. I'm getting tired of watching you pace like that. Something's not right, Donnie. He said he'd be back soon. He's not entering his cell cell. It's been hours. Probably cut up as the geekdom of seeing Godzilla up close, Raphael commented, shrugging. But Leo noticed his brothers turned back to the punching bag and smacking intently. Apparently, he wasn't the only one who was worried. No, something's happened. I can feel it. We need to check it out, Leonardo decided. Twisting his stomach was getting worse with every passing minute. He learned long ago to trust his instincts when it came to his family. Right now, they were telling him his brother needed help. I agree, came the serene voice of Master Splinter. Donatello would never leave us in such worry for so long, especially after recent events. Go and find him, my sons. Come back safely, all of you. If you say so, Mikey grinned, bouncing off the couch and joining the other two. Not like a good minute's passed up the chance to see T-Man up close. And that's what it takes, then all right, Leo agreed, leading away out of the lair. Just hoping that isn't what got Don into trouble in the first place. So he made their way out of the lair towards the battle shell. Michelangelo, too, on the inside of his cheek nervously, when his brothers weren't looking. In spite of his laughing words, he was worried. I hadn't really thought about it before, but maybe Leo had been right. Maybe letting Donatello go alone to see Godzilla had been a bad idea. Would he have had the chance to call for help if he needed it? What did the giant mutant lizards eat anyways? Hopefully not turtles. Mikey's stomach turned. Maybe Don was just late. That had to be it. Anything else was more than he wanted to consider. I've never seen anything like it, Nick said admirably as he looked over the prone body. It's definitely a mutation, but nothing like anything we've ever encountered. What do you mean? Mendel Craven was busily reading through the tote bag that had been on their visitor, taking inventory of everything he found. What makes this one different than the Leggets? Though, generally, we haven't seen them like size like this. Usually they're either microscopic or giant. Although much smaller than most of the ordinary mutations we have. That's yes. How many of them carried weaponry? Money gasped pointedly. She had refused to stand down, even after being assured the creature could not possibly break the restraints, training her tranquilizer gun on expertly. The mutant's staff weapon was behind her, and she stole a pricey glance at it again. Well used and perfectly balanced. What she'd seen as this creature stands before the powerful dart forced it into a consciousness had belied training, knowledge, and thinking. In other words, a supremely dangerous possibility. Isn't ordinary mutant an oxymoron, like jumbo strip or military intelligence? Randy asked. At the withering look from Monique and a muttered comment about moron indeed, he shrugged and went back to the laptop to bed in a bag. Somebody had hacker-proofed it, but good. Some first-rate equipment here, Elsie said, looking at Mendel's shoulder. Some of this stuff is on par with ours, even if it's built a little differently. How so? Nick asked. Well, take this for example, Mendel waved a gadget. We have one just like it, but the keypad on this one's much bigger and wider than ours. Built for bigger fingers. Nick nodded, pointing at the mutant's hands. Are you telling us this thing built better equipment than Mendel's? Randy asked. I said it was like ours, not better, whatever. Cowabunga! Cow what? Mendel squawked, looking at his piece of robotics equipment. His head now rolling back and forth as if finished computing. Randy, what did you do this time? I didn't do anything. Can I help it if Nigel is continuing his eternal search to find some personality? You certainly won't get it from you. The hacker reported. Leave that aside, what did Nigel find? Elsie reported the yellow argument. Mendel fumed. He bent over the analytical screen. According to this, we've got a male mutant terrapin on our hands. Not created by nuclear radiation, but something else. Nick felt himself growing more and more interested with everything he read and saw. Whatever this was, this turtle was no mindless beast. In fact, it was intriguingly human. The features are farther than one were to believe. Quite intelligent. Amon brought all 5 individuals for their various activities to the creature in their midst. It's coming around, Monique said, waving the others back and readying your weapon. While Mendel and Randy obeyed, and Elsie threw the Frenchwoman a glare. Nick ignored her completely and stepped forward. What? What happened? Nick gulped in surprise as he met a pair of knowing, albeit foggy eyes. This was definitely the first mutation they met who could communicate verbally. As the turtle appeared to separate its wits back into an orc, he leaned over cautiously. You were tranquilized, he said hesitantly. You're in our lab. The turtle looked around, mind obviously clearing us and glass chemicals in the dark feeding from his system. Experimentally, he tried to raise a hand, only to find it bound. Why am I tied down? There was real fear in the question, and Elsie found herself moving forward. Not knowing she was going to do it, she took the turtle's left hand. It was tense, calloused, but it gripped hers like a lifeline. Her heart to the creature intensely. There was something in its face, something expressive of the face of being human. She almost called it gentle. You're all right. We're not gonna hurt you. Yeah, I've heard that before. Look, Dr. Tatopoulos, I know mutations are your specialty, and I'm sure I'm a fascinating subject of study, but I'd really like to make it clear I'm not a rablat. I'm a sentient being, and I'd like to say something in my circumstances. My name is Donatello, and I appreciate not being in restraints, please. If you're willing to let me up, I'm sure there's plenty we can learn from each other on more equal footing. He gained some an idea blossoming in his mind. Solution to a problem he hadn't quite defined, but it'd be difficult to implement, while not viewed as an equal. And while tied down, definitely more difficult it became a specimen. The Heat team exchanged glances, as Randy Rose said. It was some sort of new level on awareness scale. A talking mutant Terrapin, who was obviously intelligent, self-aware, knew at least one of their needs, and had the clarity to make compliant requests. Nick was halfway to blocking one of their spiny straps, when a hand stabbed his from the table. No, you do not know how dangerous this is, Monique said crisply. Oh, come on. How many mutants have been shorter than us and been able to talk before breathing fire and destroy everything in sight? Randy asked, to think over his words. Maybe that wasn't as helpful as I intended. Nigel says the Terrapin doesn't have much in the way of radioactive signature, so no breathing fire in this one, Mendel reported. If you ask me, it doesn't seem nice to keep somebody tied up when they're sort of a guest. On the other hand, that whole destroy everything in sight problem is not insignificant. It is not a gift, Monique argued. It is a threat until we know otherwise. Donatello, you said your name was. And Nick asked. At the turtle's side, he continued. Why were you sneaking around our lab this evening? I didn't mean any harm. That's a response. And to Elsie, it almost sounded chagrined, like a teenager caught out of curfew. I only came because I was trying to study Godzilla. It's a radiating some. It's vital to my research that acquires as much knowledge as I can about mutations and the way their molecular structure and DNA can be impacted. Oh yeah, sounds real threatening. The paleontologist rolled her eyes. I know you deal with things that mostly want to eat or smash you, but I'm not like that. I'm not an animal, not a monster. I don't know what I need to say to convince you, but I really, really think you should trust me. Why is that? Mendel asked curiously. Donatello closed his eyes. Somehow he felt relatively certain that, because if you don't let me up so I can check in at home, my brothers will come and find me, make you trust us even less while they tear this place apart, and kick the snot out of everybody to rescue me. It was not the best answer ever. And it was. Donnie knew a greater possibility every passing moment. The argument went round after round, Monique insisting on keeping him tied up, and he was cautiously enthusiastically advocating for his release. With a sinking heart, Donatello felt sure the question would resolve itself some way. He heard them before anyone else. He'd been listening for them his whole life. Only a fraction of a heartbeat after the purple-clad turtle was aware of his brother's proximity. A rapid beeping went off from a computer terminal on one side of the room. Monique turned her towards the sound. Intruders. Loading a tranquilizing gun with swift efficiency, she gestured to Dr. Tatopoulos. I will handle them. See that you leave it here and keep it confined. No, you're making a big mistake! Donnie said desperately. The last thing he wanted was a fight between a scientist who was friends with Godzilla and his family. However it ended, it would not be a good thing. Look, they're coming at me. If you just let me up. But it was too late. The room was plunged after darkness. Okay, this fic is pretty good. I love the introduction here. I love how it works. It's so easy, as we have seen multiple times in a bad crossover, to totally F it up. To, make one side look bad. But I like this introduction. It actually does show the turtles being, who they are and why they're best at. This is why I love Batman vs. TMNT, as it does show their skills and it actually shows them both respectfully. So, that was one down. Thousands more to go. See you next time.